I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
She absolutely does. She doesn't miss a trick. Matcha. Ah, matcha. Matcha. Matcha tea. Matcha tea. There you go. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a new day, a new morning. You're reborn with a new day. How the hell are you? How the hell are you? Here's Region. Here they go. Frisbee is getting teabagged right now. What a coincidence. Good morning, champ. Okay. Let's get that energy going here, man. Now, I can't touch the tea because it's just a wee bit too hot. I boil the water. I do a thing with the water about 3 minutes. It's extra hot. If I just do 2 minutes, well, gotta have it hot enough to get this tea to kind of disperse its wonderful chemistry. You understand, of course. You forgive me. There we go. There we go. I did things very right this morning, and I'm following some of my own discoveries. You get up in the morning, first thing you do is take some warm water to hydrate your body a bit. If you had lemon, put in it at the time, if you had it prepared, but I didn't. But then just make some certain movements, get your blood flowing and so-called, well, whatever, just going by what I read. Makes sense, though. Don't hit the morning before you just, get out of bed slowly. Do a couple of moves, couple of grooves. Drink some, well, room temperature water. It's warm out here, so drink some warm water if you can. Hydrate your body. Don't drink the coffee. Don't drink the tea, whatever you have before you do what you have to do, and you just get up. It's an art. It's an art, and I'm an artiste. I got to do the right brushstrokes. Okay. Okay, where were we when I was rudely interrupted by my last show? Okay, yeah, boy, I got to tell you, I don't understand these expats. What's that one guy's name? And his wife, or his girlfriend actually, is Rose. Philippine Antics was talking about him. Quite a crazy situation. I don't understand you expats sometimes. I really don't understand it. So he's with this chick. He tells everybody he's married when he's not. Okay. Okay. But it's just not that. She's like in her early 40s. And her time clock is ticking. She wanted to have a bye-bye. So, apparently he couldn't give her a bye-bye. All right? His spunk was not strong enough. So she takes it on her own accord, go out and get laid with another man, who apparently has some good swimmers. And she gets pregnant. So she cheating on him. Cheat. She's cheating on him. But, he had to cover the story up, tell the viewers that he was actually married to her when he wasn't. But he say it was his baby when it's not. So he was embarrassed about the whole thing. But then he comes out with a little expose. Says, well, I'm not really married to Rose, and that's not my bye-bye. And then he's making all kinds of excuses for her. I mean, the woman cheated on him, number one and most important. Oh, good morning, Ed Savino. I didn't see you there. So he's over there, the last show he did, well, I'm going to explain everything. Here's what's, and she's like, in the background talking and holding his bye-bye, which is not his. Fucking these crazy fucking expats, man. And he's, and he bought some land for her too, Fact is, she was only with him to get, whatever from him. I can say that in his situation for sure. And he's sitting there trying to explain to people, well, look, I lied. I mean, we were never married, and that kid is not mine, and all that. But you got to understand about Rose, her time clock was ticking. So what? Does that mean she has to go out and cheat on you? Really? Really? She has to go out and cheat? And that's acceptable? No, that's not acceptable. That wouldn't be to me. Oh, speaking of that, I was on my news feed. There's this family in freaking Australia. Guy's got 16 kids. Ages all the way up to 30. I don't know what the hell. How does he afford 16 kids in Australia? And people were making jokes about it. Does this guy ever zip up his fly? Does he spend all day in bed? Because they're all consecutive. She was getting pregnant every time she had one kid without giving her body a rest. The next year she had another kid. The next year she had another kid. The next year she had another kid. I'm saying this woman's got to be rode hard, Have some time to heal. But what the hell do you need 16 kids for? 16. In a world where, we're overpopulated. And people are just not responsible in that way these days. More so these days when a lot of shit's going on with the environment and the population, and it's irresponsible these days to have 16 children. Is that all they did was fuck? Did he even give his ball sack a chance to build up more fucking sperm? I mean, it's like all they did when they went to bed is fuck. There pops another one, here pops another one. Snap, crackle, and pop. Amazing. People just don't really care. I mean, it's like they live for today, they say fuck tomorrow. Well, you got to live for today in a sense, but nobody cares about the earth. Nobody cares about it because it's the future of their children they should be thinking about. Don't pop out 16 kids. Are they even going to have a future? Are you doing them a disjustice, an injustice, by having 16 kids to face a very uncertain future? But anyway, on that one, I thought I'd mention that because I was looking at this in total awe. Total awe. I don't know. I think one kid is enough. If you want to have a boy, then you try for a boy. If you want to carry on the name and you had a girl, okay, and you have 2 kids. Then some people try, maybe to get all girls. Oh, imagine that. Imagine if they were all Karens, too. Couldn't imagine. Get a rope and hang yourself. I don't know. I don't even know what the purpose is of having 16 children. I just don't understand it. All right, well, let's get back to this guy and Rose. So the fact is, she lied to him. Oh, it's okay. I understand. No. I'm sorry. I would not understand, if my partner cheated on me or something. I wouldn't understand that at all. There would be no excuse for that, and there would be no, like this guy, well, okay, I understand. The time clock was ticking, and that's a lot of bullshit. What a wimp. I don't know what else to call this guy. He looks pretty old and frail, actually. His movements look kind of weird too when he's talking. I don't know what he has going on with him. But it turns out the cake is she's gonna allow me to stay here. She's gonna live in the house down the road, and I'm gonna have Brenda. And he gets a new girlfriend. She totally approves of it. In fact, she set it up to try because he was very lonely when Rose and him not together. So tell you what, she found a friend, Brenda, that got together with him because she felt sorry for him because he was so lonely. So lonely. So they're going to just live down the road from each other. How interesting is that? So this chick, Rose, gets her land and she gets a child, but not by the guy she's with. She goes and fucks another guy, and she has a big old bouncing baby now. And he, forgot his first name, oh, it's okay. I understand what she went through, and time clock is ticking. She wanted to have a bye-bye, and I couldn't give her a bye-bye. Well, then, you see, that's when you break up. But you don't cheat right under the nose of a guy that you supposedly love. Come on, get real on that shit. I don't know, these foreigners never cease to amaze me. I listen to this stuff and I say, is this real? Yeah, well, it is real. There's so many stories on here in relationships that I can't believe, and why certain people are even with each other. It's just mind-boggling to me. Okay, a little dialogue, people, before I fall asleep here, okay? Gotta have a little dialogue. Haven't even taken a sip of my tea yet. Give me a break. My goodness, Magnum. Speaking of Magnum, a lot of crazy stuff going on in Hawaii there with that volcano. Wish I was there to witness it. Yeah. Bringing tourists from around the world. Bringing up the economy of the big island of Hawaii. Get your t-shirts here of the volcano. Get your keychains. Boy, people just take advantage of other people with greed. That's life with people. Always going to profit over something that happens with Mother Nature or whatever. Come on, get my blood flowing here, folks. Speaking of, I got to hit the treadmill. Yes, I will. It's amazing what I learned though recently. I was doing things the wrong way with certain exercise and stuff, and some things the right way. In other words, you don't be doing a shitload of push-ups and putting strain on your heart when you haven't done that prior to when you just really started all your little exercise techniques, because you got an older heart. And the older heart is screaming, say, hey man, I was able to do these things in my younger years, but I just can't do that anymore. I'm just not capable. Okay, then you're over there trying to just really exert yourself. But you don't know, you're just tearing your heart apart. Oh well, live and learn. And learn to live. And learn these little life secrets that's actually going to keep you alive. Know what I'm saying? Was that Big Kevin's last show? Why did he show a video from, how long ago was it from? What was the purpose of that? I don't know. Anyway, we'll try to keep this topical and not on the fucktards on here as best as we can. Yeah. Okay, what's happening in the community? I don't know. I know that the copycat channel is going strong as usual. It's amazing anybody has that much time on their hands to do something like that. That's why I think it's really good to be me. It makes me realize it more so when I listen and see some of the things they do on YouTube, and it makes me actually reinforce how good I feel about myself. So there's some good that comes out of that, now that I think about it. How do you define normal? Well, believe me, I'm very normal compared to some of these people and what they do. I don't know who defines normal anyway from crazy, but I guess it's just the same saying, you do things over and over again and trying to get to a certain goal and achieve something that you can't achieve. And, it's just totally worthless when you're not achieving the goal you want. And you continue to do it over and over again. So you'd probably say, well, what is a copycat channel trying to prove? Well, it's copying my videos. They might put an entitlement on the show or something like that, but what's the purpose? Well, it gives the troll community a reason to come together and make comments. Right. Oh, okay, hold on, I'm getting my messages here. Oh, baby, she wrote me a letter. She done wrote me a letter. Baby's on the way home. So yeah, I just don't really see the purpose of it at all. Unless they're trying to catch something I say, because I take my decide not to keep whatever show I put on, decide to delete it or put it private or whatever. But, what am I saying? It's anything more unusual than what I normally say. It doesn't make any sense at all. What you heard me do my show, you heard me do my show. And some people like to have the copycat channel because if they didn't catch one of my shows, they could catch it on there. Well, that's what Barry said he used to do. If I didn't catch Frank's show, I go to copycat channel, I catch it on there. I don't need to go to Frank's show. Okay. Whatever floats your boat. I want to figure what the hell to eat this morning here. I'm undecided what route I want to take here. What should I have? Nah, I'm trying not to eat any pork. I got some sweet ham, but that's processed shit. Not that I don't eat anything processed. I can make no, if I don't have any cheese. I'm gonna make an omelet with the sweet ham and eggs. I don't know, I just can't sometimes bring myself to eat this shit. I buy it for the kids, they like that shit, the sweet ham, this shit. I'm sure you've seen it if you're living out here, made by Winner, which is not a winning company anyway. Yeah, what's the ingredients, as I call them, the ingredients on here? I don't know, can you see that? Oh my God. Poultry. It's called sweet ham. It's got what? Now let me get my glasses. This is interesting to read. This is a lesson in itself. And you see why I'm reluctant to eat this kind of shit. Let's look at this again. How interesting. Now, what is this called? Sweet ham, right? Okay. Ingredients: pork, beef, and mechanically separated poultry. Water, starch, sugar, iodized salt, spices, and MSG as a flavor enhancer. Soy protein, sodium polyphosphates as a stabilizer. Sodium erythrobate as an antioxidant. Sodium nitrite as a preservative. What the? Artificial. Oh my God. Contains soybean products processed in a facility that also uses egg, wheat, milk, and fish products. It's called sweet ham. No, thank you. I'm not having that this morning. That's what I'm saying. Buyer beware. Read the label. Yeah, that's exactly what they do here. They fry it up with egg and rice and whatever. As I said, they're not really. I don't know, man. Like I said, you're not going to change a culture. No matter how hard you try, you're not going to change a culture. You can only do what's right for you, and let them kind of do what they think is right for them. Yeah, good luck trying to change a culture. Good luck with that. Tell me how that works out for you. I mean, really. Yeah, you got to read the label sometimes. And even out of desperation, there's certain things I will not eat, no matter how hungry I am. You got to wake yourself up and you got to read the label. And once you read the label, you're going to think twice. And yeah, it's just more important as you're getting older, too, to be more cautious and more conscious about what the fuck you're eating. You got that choice to make. All right. So, after looking at that, I decided, no thank you. MDM poultry meat is very common to Philippines. MDM, mechanically deboned meat. Most of it is imported into the country. Yeah. Don't call it sweet ham. If it doesn't even have any, well, ham, you were generally referring to pork, right? Am I right or wrong? Well, it did have pork in it, yeah. But look at everything else that was in it. Poultry and this and that. And then all the chemical additives. I can understand. I can understand all the hoopla about processed foods and why they're bad. Like I said, it's not like I don't eat any processed foods at all, but I do. But not, as much as I think the average person does. Gosh, just looking at those ingredients. Like I had this big bag at one time I bought at S&R of Italian meatballs. Then I was reading what was in there and all that stuff, and I was saying, holy shit, are you kidding me? No matter how hungry I wanted to have a little taste of meat or something if I didn't have any at the time. Oh, maybe just meatballs go good with the rice or something. Or then I, remind myself, and I've even showed it on my show. I put it in an air fryer or something, and I showed you the paper underneath it, how much fat was gooking out of that shit. I just couldn't eat it. There's limitations to what I do. Come on, Sal. There's limitations to what I'm going to eat. No matter how hungry I am. Maybe there's nothing around the house at the time that looked interesting to eat. But I'm not just going to just eat anything. I'll have that much control. Yeah. Where are you going? Wait. Sal? Just like the motorcycle that's just passed by. They got the father as a driver and a little baby in between the mother. But that's nothing. I've seen whole families on a motor scooter, and I say, oh man, imagine if they got into some disaster. The whole family could be gone in one instant. But that's how they get around. That's how they transport each other. You going to stop that from happening? No, you're not. But like I said, respect the culture here. You don't have to agree with everything you see or experience out here. You just got to know it's happening. That's what they do, and they're going to continue to do it, whether you approve of it or not, or whether you think it's dangerous or otherwise. I mean, forget about it. Ain't going to happen. Just let people do what they need to do. Well, they start raining this morning here. Sal, where are you? Like I said, these dogs are in freaking heat. When I let them out, I got to watch them. Not that there's any way of a dog getting in the yard, but believe me, they could find a way. They could find a way. That's what happened with the dog I had at the other house. That sucker was an athlete, climbed over this fence, a 4-foot cement wall, and then threw whatever was on there, and still got in, And when I chased him out, he got out real quick that way, too. He managed to get in the yard. Region. I remember a YouTube short of Brevis and his baby. Mom on a scooter with a 1-year-old baby sandwiched between them. So reckless for a Bitcoin millionaire. I told you. I don't know, man. I'd find a safer mean of transportation. I don't know. Certainly not a motor scooter. Well, you do what you do by need. And if that's the way you're going to be able to get around and transport your family, then I guess that's what you do. Okay, I could say a lot of things, I don't think it's right or this or that, but like I said, it's just not gonna change a culture. Something they've been doing all this time. Yeah, you're gonna come, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, how in fact you expect us to get around, white boy? This is what we do in our country. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, well, everyone goes around lunchtime, believe it or not. So they're gonna leave everything on the counter for me to clean up. It's so easy to go fry your eggs, whatever you're going to do, and just wash it. But they leave this stuff for me. And I'm not saying that they don't do anything around it. They do, but not really enough that would satisfy me. Yesterday especially, there was like so many dishes. Everything was left on the counter. Garbage, they couldn't put it. We have a little bag here, and even I don't like to do that. Any garbage, any clean out the sink or anything, we'll throw it in this bag and we'll throw it out. But sometimes I'll leave a bag here for a long time. You'll find things, open can of sardines, you'll find on the counter here. Instead, you could have easily put it in this bag, right? But no, they don't do that. No, that's too hard for them to do, too difficult. That's the bugaboos I have with that, because I know they got to get ready for school and all this stuff, but they have to be responsible enough to clean up after themselves, not leave it for me or their mother, so, well, it is what it is. Tea's drinkable now. What the fuck was Big Kevin putting on a show having to do with Easter? He posted something on there. Oh, something about Easter something. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. Easter in the is Easter different in I don't think so, in Thailand than it is over here? Because if I'm not mistaken, the last video I had on mentioning something about Easter. The boy's confused or something. Did that heat stroke did something to him? I don't know. Easter. Easter's the same time no matter what country you're in, really. That's my wake up in the morning. Some people have coffee, I have my tea. Then I decide what the hell I'm going to eat. But I did notice I am watching what I eat a lot more. That's why I lost some weight. As I said, I'm down to barely 165. I'm normally around 168, 170. So I'm happy with the weight. Well, I'd rather be around 170, to be honest with you. But I've been eating less. Well, actually not necessarily eating less. I'm eating more things that have maybe less fat in it or things like that. I guess that's a good thing. But this Rose chick, that's what you call a wimpy guy or simpy guy, whatever. It's clear to me that Rose used him to get the land and everything else, In his situation, I can say that's a reality. Just going to live down the road. We can still be friends and... Oh, come on, man. Come on, honestly, you're going to be happy with a chick that cheats on you? We can still be friends? Hell with that shit. Hell, I divorced my old lady when she cheated on me. There's no question. I mean, knowing what I was going to do. And no, I didn't find her home with the guy Oh, welcome to YouTube, right? I'm not like that at all. Two consenting adults could do whatever the fuck they want, but there's consequences for doing something. That's what you got to think about. Yeah. So, shit happens. God, there's something I was supposed to do today, and I forgot what I was supposed to do. Oh, yeah, I got some I don't know if I want to start it, really. I got a little project here I'm thinking about doing. Got to paint, but the bottom cabinets, I was thinking about doing them white also. They were stained, you know. It's going to require sanding them down a bit, and it's definitely going to be probably 2 coats. I just know if I'm not into certain things anymore, you know. Especially when it's really humid. You can feel it in the house. Not all of my rooms are air conditioned, you know. It's not like that. But it was challenging for me just to paint the upper cabinets up there where the air is warmer on a stool or whatever it was I was using, chair. I was just sweating away. I limit certain things I do these days, you know. I know what my body can take and what my body can't take, so I'm very aware of it, especially now. Know your limitations, that's all I can tell you on that. Don't push it. So yeah, all these guys are going to the gym to work out, they're in their 60s or whatever, and so the question is, what was your lifestyle before that? Were they doing, you know, rigorous exercising prior to them deciding in their 60s to go work out with free weights and shit? And you shouldn't work out with free weights. Work out with the banded, whatever weights, you know, rather than free weights, because that should be more dangerous to you. Other than a dumbbell, that 20 pounds is all you need. And you don't even push it with that. See, I didn't know this stuff, but how do you learn unless you read? And I was listening to this heart specialist guy talking about this, and he made sense. He made sense that your heart is not that young heart it used to be. So you want to do good for yourself, you want to start lifting weights, you want to start doing this and that, but your heart's not ready for it. That's the whole consensus of what this guy was talking about. Your heart is not the young heart you used to have, so that's why you have to have certain limitations. So if you want to work out a little bit with dumbbells or weight, whatever, you know, there's certain limitations and things you have to do. You can't just get into it and all that. And maybe you're not feeling anything bad with your heart or anything else, but your heart is taking a strain on this until someday, boom, that's it. So you live and learn, you know. There's a lot of things I didn't know about that I now practice, but I didn't know before. But you try to learn from what you read, and then you maybe double check it with another resource and say, well, is this true or not? Because I'm hearing 2 conflicting opinions about something regarding health or supplements or the kind of exercise you should do at certain ages and all that stuff. It's very conflicting. They're saying, yeah, you should go out and do that kind of. No, not if your heart is not used to it. Now, it don't work that way. Your heart has a memory. It's like its own brain. If it's been weakened, it's been weakened. Don't push it. Don't push it. Anyway, not too much to say today. I thought I'd talk about these very unusual expats, like this guy and his, well, now ex-girlfriend, Rose, trying to make excuses for what she did, which is ridiculous. Why would you do that? Oh, I know, that's right, because people found out. That's when the truth comes out. Because when people found out that she was not indeed, being faithful to him, and that the child she has is not his. Anyway, the information came out is what it really comes down to. So he felt he had to do a tell-all and get the record straight and all that stuff. And that usually happens when people find out about things that you're not willing to say. I'm the kind of guy that just says, okay, well, this has been a topic, so why don't I just complete the topic and tell you how it really is? Whether it's a relationship to my daughter, which has been a popular topic, and I got it all out. There's nothing more to say. It is what it is. Nothing to hide. Just be honest. Spell it out. You don't have to give your whole life information to everybody on here, but if it's become a topic matter and a lot of false statements are being made, straighten it out. I mean, you don't have to do anything. I mean, you don't have to prove anything to anybody on here, but it's fun when you do and you prove them wrong, which I've done so many times. I can't even count. Okay, anything else to rap about here this morning? Because I got to attend to my own physicality. Speaking of, and by the way, I don't care how little it is, even if it's just a mile walk or something like that, or on the treadmill, and take a walk at the beach, whatever it might be. It makes a huge difference if you're really concerned about your health or longevity. Remember, I've been pushing this for a long time, is that to keep your blood moving. And I tried to emphasize that on a lot of my shows. You can't be totally stagnant, and it's really not good for you. You'll pay for that later on. You don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to run or walk 10 miles or whatever. Sometimes something as simple as a mile or 2 miles, whether it's done outdoors or it's done in a house with a treadmill, whatever. Or whether you want to walk from room to room or just run and walk around your house, I don't care what it is. Keep the blood flowing. It's just like a fucking pipe. You got to keep that flow of water in there. Otherwise, things kind of sediment builds up in there. And without that flow of water, things tend to build up in a pipe and it closes up on you. It's the same thing with your kidneys. That's why they tell you to drink a lot of water, because you want to flush out all the toxins. So if your kidneys are really kind of dry, let's just say that, there's going to be sediment built up in there. And that's how you get your stones and all that stuff. So you got to basically flush out your system like anything else. I don't know if I get any appreciation for this information I give out on here, though. I don't see a whole lot of thank. I do sometimes, but rarely get thanks for just kind of promoting this information that I learn on here. Maybe I'm saving a life out there. The life you save may be your own. I think some of the stuff I talk about is not that appreciated. So why do I give it? Well, because I can. But as I said, it's not always for the people. It just reinforces my practice by talking about it. It kind of gives me a reinforcement. It's kind of a reminder to myself that I have to do this and I have to do that and don't do this and don't do that. So it kind of helps myself, although I think I'm performing a service on here, but whether it goes appreciated or not, I'm sure most of the people that are in a category that I talk about on here, whether they're obese and all that other shit and they drink and all that, I'm sure they've taken a second look at themselves. In fact, I know they did, because there's certain people on here that suddenly started to go to the gym more often and do this and do that, but they still don't got it right. Because if you're not used to doing free weights and if you're not used to doing vigorous activity, you're actually hurting your heart instead of helping it. I mean, I didn't notice, no, I didn't fully know this. I know that you can't jump into something heavy. Yeah, I've always known that when you're out of shape. But I didn't know that you're basically harming your heart by doing the very things that you think is going to help your cardio. So keep that in mind. Okay, any other comments before I get off here? Because I'm not going to talk to myself here. Though I have a wonderful voice, I've been told, but I'm not conceited and I don't want to just hear myself talk on here. I know I have a popular show, but unless it's loaded with trolls, I'm not going to get that curly action. You know, I'm not going to get 100 comments coming in at once from trolls because most of them are blocked. Anything more, Region? Anything more? Ed? Anybody? There you go. Okay. Which also leads me to something else here. Look, I'm not going to do a troll show every time I come on here, and you have that opportunity to tune in or tune out. I'm not going to turn it into Big Kevin's show. That's just not going to happen. There's no money involved here. I'm not worried about the numbers. I give shows because I got something to share. And that's about the sum of it. It's either appreciated or it's not. If not, just go listen to Big Kevin's show or something and go to a troll show. I can't please all. I just got to please myself. With that being said, I'm going to tune out. And speaking of exercise, I'm going to start attending to my own. Gentlemen, you got to be more proactive on my show here for me to even keep on vlogging. Otherwise, I just do the uploads and there's no comments allowed. And that's the best thing I could offer you as far as staying on YouTube. With that being said, ta-ta. Okay, here's a quickie for you guys. Don't talk about Barry that much, but I did a little research on something and its application for him. It could possibly be. People are wondering how long can they keep him out in that facility without, paying his charges. Well, from what I read, 6 months per charge. 6 months per charge. So if you have 5 charges, that could be 30 months of subsidiary confinement. So you're talking about a year and a half. So it's quite possible that, from what I read, and if it's just for fines that he's in, that he has to pay, and I don't know if that's inclusive of what he owes me or the court or both or whatever. But what I recently just read, in fact 10 minutes ago, which I'm sharing with you, is that if he doesn't pay the penalty to the court and to me, they could potentially keep him in there for, well, let's see, he had 5 charges against him that he pleaded guilty to. So they could keep him in there for 6 months per charge. That means 30 months. And I think someone just came home. Let's see. I might have to continue this show later. This is what I've got so far, and whether that's applying to him 100%, I really don't know. Freedom to move around at the prisons? No, everything is pretty scheduled when you eat. They have to do head counts they do it 5 times a day or something. Everything is very regimental. When you can get, you're all part of the general population in this prison, and everything is based by the books. No, you cannot normally use your phone for pleasure. You can sneak a call in to make a comment on a channel, whatever. They will allow you now and then to contact your lawyer or family, and I think that's what Barry does when he gets use of his phone. That's the only big update, any update I have on this, except he could face as much as 30 months, and that's on top of the 2 years that he's already served, plus 1 month in Bicuton. So I guess I'd have to ask him the question, was it all worth it? Was it all worth it? And this is not something, like I said, I'm doing to him. The court, he pleaded guilty on his own, and the court didn't sentence him to prison. and that's what he was trying to avoid, and we went along with that. We had no problem, considering it served time already, but this is their doing, so it's the rules of the court under certain acts and provisions and so forth that imprisonment, it's called a subsidiary or something like that, imprisonment, subsidiary imprisonment, in which if they don't pay the fines and fees or whatever the court ordered them to do, uh, 6 months per charge, and there are 5 charges, that would be 30 months. And then if you want to add in what he's already had in Mandawi, which was 24 months, then another month, that Bikitan, that's 25 months. So if you want to add that to 30 months, it'll be 55 months total if if they're going to go along with this, if that's the way it's actually working. This was just looked up early this morning. I was saying, well, how long could they hold somebody in there? Well, if you want to listen to Chat GPT, and that's where I got my information off, how accurate they are and how it pertains to his situation might be slightly different. But I know if the court imposes judgment on you and you admitted guilty and they impose judgment and happen to be fines to the court, settlement or damages, whatever you want to call it, to the plaintiff, who's me. It's on paper, it's a court order, and I guess if he doesn't comply, then neither will they. So they don't mind keeping him in there as long as he can. So the question is, okay, so maybe that would be his fines. I don't know. If he's able to hack it out 30 months of more confinement in a prison atmosphere, more power to him. Maybe he doesn't really have a choice and does not have any funding from anybody, not even her family. So there might be no choice but to just hack it out and hope that you could survive the next, 29 more months. In his case, if that is going along with this provision or subsidiary imprisonment for non-payment of such fines. So that's all the information I have on that. How accurate the information is, I can't guarantee you. It just really comes from ChatGPT, and that's where I get some of my information. But it does go along with current guidelines with the penal system and having to do with court-ordered punishment of any sort. Can he last there in another 29 months? It's hard to say if he doesn't get disease, if he behaves himself, if he doesn't succumb to the heat. There's a lot of elements. No, it's not a pleasant place to be for anyone, including myself. I will tell you that. It's very limited on what you can do there, and everything is by orders. They have to do head counts so many times a day. You eat breakfast a certain time, lunch a certain time, dinner a certain time. I don't know how often they allow you to shower. They might be scheduled on your showers. So it's very regimental, and you don't really have the freedom of such yet. Mick Smith says, Frisbee needs some brisket. Oh, his girlfriend, I think, flies back and forth on the cheapest airline. She goes back and forth, and I'm sure she brings him a lot of food to eat for the dinner or whatever for that day. I'm sure she's on and off the plane, as you can see. Where she gets the money for it, I really don't know. But you can get these really good peso flights, I guess, for cheap on certain days. Or I don't know if you schedule it ahead of time. I don't know. But she's obviously going back and forth to visit him. I have no problem with that. Why should I? She does what she wants. But I'm sure she brings him a good meal every time she comes there. But I think it's just a general, I don't know, it's a general food that they feed you every day. And it's normally like a soggy rice with some kind of vegetable. Sometimes fish. I know he's not a big fish person. But look, I'm not worried about his comfort level. I'm just reporting as to what I understand the situation to be. I don't give a rat's ass of how hard he's having a time in there. I did not put him in Billy Bid. nor did I put him in Bikitan, okay? Nor did I set the time that he was going to stay in Mandawi. I have nothing to do with either one of those things. I didn't set no time, no rules. Nobody was paid off to put him in there. This is all the government's doing, and it's not of mine. So what happens to him is according to how well he behaves in that environment and how he can, put up or succumb to the living conditions. And Billy Bid, by the way, is the most worst prison, top of the list in all the Philippines. So I imagine, and for what I've seen on video of the place, I know it's not a very pleasant place. Barry has to ask himself, many times over, I hope he has, was it worth what he did? And not just with me, was it worth everything he's done? Now that's a good example of karma hitting really hard, really hard. And karma that was created by his own doing. Let's get that straight once and for all. By his own doing. Maybe, hopefully he'll learn from this. I don't know if he could. I personally don't think he can. He'll just be as cocky and cantankerous as he always has been. Never mind what he's done with me, but it's what he's done with so many people. So many others that he's mistreated or took money off and scammed. Can you feel sorry for him on any level? Well, I don't know if, according to how you want to look at this, if everything he's done to people is worth him being in the worst prison in the Philippines for a set amount of time. I'm not sure how to really answer that, in all honesty. It's not a good place to be in, obviously. And, but if you think of some of the things he's done to people, and he's done a lot, he's taken advantage of a lot of people. He's still relatively young. He'll get over it when he gets out. What he's facing when he goes back to USA, that's a whole nother story. There might be a whole nother episode in his life because he does owe child support. That didn't go away. He might have some bench warrants out for him. He may not actually be going to Alabama. Instead, he might be going to Florida or Tennessee, but I think he might even have a bench warrant out for him in Tennessee. I don't think it ever stops. It's kind of, the gift that keeps on giving. He's created such an atmosphere of, of contempt in his life in every way you could think of, really. He might have even gotten a woman pregnant once. I do remember that he was saying a long time ago that some woman called, it's when he was staying at Virgie's, and he was saying that some chick called him and said, "Oh, you're the father of my child." And he said to her, "Hey, no, my child, I got a vasectomy." So, whether he did have a vasectomy and why would he spend the money on a vasectomy? I don't believe he did have a vasectomy because Barry would not spend money on a vasectomy when he was back in the States. I can't see that happening. Why would, this is booze money, cigarette money, whatever. He's going to spend it on a vasectomy. And why would he have a vasectomy? Oh, well, maybe he's afraid of getting another woman pregnant and he'd have to pay child support. That could be an answer. If he actually had a vasectomy, that could possibly be real because he was never in a position to pay or wanting to pay for child support. So it's kind of an ugly situation for him. Now, we haven't been talking about Barry too much on here, but I'm taking the time to give you what I think is an update. Okay, I didn't hear it from the direct sources, but upon reading and answering and posing that question to ChatGPT, that is the answer that I came up with. I was being very specific that there were 5 cyber libel charges against him that he pleaded guilty to, and that the court imposed fine of 250,000 pesos to the court and to the plaintiff, which is me, damages of 200, which he got away with real easy, let me tell you on that, damages of 250,000. Considering what I spent on the lawyer and everything else and the aggravation, he got away real well with that, But the one thing he didn't get away with, that has nothing to do with me, is them putting him where he's been. And that's like after Mandawi going to Bikitan for a month and then being put in the worst prison in the Philippines, which is Bilibid, Manila City Jail, really. It goes under different number names. but it's not a pleasant place. So is he paying for his crimes? Do you think he's paying for his crimes? Remember, it's not just me. Okay, I wasn't just the only person violated in some way, or many ways from him, many actually, uh, about all the damage he's done to other people. Do you think, in your heart of all hearts, that he deserves this imprisonment? Well, that's something to think about. It is the worst place in the Philippines, but he's not the nicest person in the world either. So it's really according to how you want to look at this. He does deserve to spend some time somewhere, but this is up to the system, the penal system out there, in relation to immigration and the court system, uh, as what they decided to do. I didn't write them a letter and say, you got to put him in Billy Bad, man. You have to do that. I never did that. I have nothing to do with where he's at right now. His inability to pay, or people who supposedly were saying they were going to help him, and the very people with big wallets who were supporting Barry, the very ones that were telling me that he doesn't deserve to be in a prison for what he did, the very people, if I have to name names, I'll name them, the ones that were approaching me saying, we agree. What the hell is that? Is that a commercial airliner? No, that's a small plane. It just went over. That they don't agree. Mick Fisher didn't agree with me. Barry deserved whatever he did, and the detention, Mandawi, this and that, but really nothing more than that. All right, the question is, if that's the case, why didn't Mick Fisher help him out? Mick Fisher's got money, and Big E was feeling the same way apparently. Big E's got money. Why didn't Big E help him out? This is what I mean. Now, they might have helped him out in other ways, like helping his girlfriend get a lawyer to go against me, and perhaps sprinkling a little bit of pesos her way to help her out in the process, or even possibly a form of enticement to get her to do that. Now, I can't prove that they enticed her with money, but obviously somebody paid for the lawyer for her to do this complaint. And I do believe there was enticement involved. That's just my opinion. I can't prove it, but somebody was sprinkling a little pesos, a little fairy dust on his girlfriend to do that complaint. But then again, as I said, that's my opine. It's my opinion. And that's all it is at this point. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying my opinion and my feelings pretty much are inclined to believe that, yeah, there was some form of help involved there getting this kind of stuff done. Because he didn't have the resources himself to go hire a lawyer for his girlfriend to do a complaint against me, and I don't think she's making buku money in the kind of business that she runs. So it's more based on, common sense than anything else. We got one person commenting here. Well, I'll give you time to suck it all in. I don't control the system. The system can control you. And we know that some of the things that are done, where people spend too much time somewhere, let's say that their imprisonment for a conviction was going to get them 5 years in jail. But do you think it's right that somebody spends over 5 years in jail, if that was the case, awaiting trial to get that conviction? So that'll be all the time that you've been spending in there on a waiting list, the forgotten. Then the court imposes imprisonment on you. Your case comes up, whatever, and they impose a prison sentence on you, and that's on top of the time that you've already served. Now, that I don't agree on. Okay. And if you agree with me on this, I'll understand why you do. Yeah, I don't think that's fair, but the system is slow. Or the dockets are so full out there. No, I would totally agree with you on that, if that's how you feel. Absolutely. It's not like America. They try to push the cases through to get the dockets cleared up, all this good stuff. But in reality, here in the Philippines, it's not the way things work. And it's really a shit system. It is a shit system, even for Barry. It's a shit system where, you know, you have to wait that long just, for example, a case to come up or something, you know, or to get deported. He's already had this summary deportation for years, but they can't implement it because he did have to go to trial, and he lost in his trial. He pleaded guilty, and he didn't have to have a sentence imposed on him, but he did have court fines and damages. And he has to go along with that unless he pays it. But yeah, I'm pretty amazed that all these people, you know, the Free Barry J campaign and all that, they really punked out on him, is what they did. They really just gave him the wazoo, you know, and who was raising money for Barry and pocketing the money and shit like that, and all the do-gooders, the high roaders, haven't mentioned that name in a long time, the high roaders that was so behind Barry J that we don't want to see Barry go through there. And out of respect, oh yeah, how about out of respect for his girlfriend? Why haven't they helped Barry out is the question. To get him, because they don't want to see me make any money. That's what's holding them back. Well, get over yourselves, dudes. You either support Barry or you don't. You either support his girlfriend or you don't. Just because, well, Barry has to pay the court X amount of money, but he also has to pay Frank X amount of money too. And that's one of the reasons that nobody is paying anything. Well, like I said, it works for me either way. Either way. Whether Barry gets the money to get out, whatever. Whether he gets the money to pay the damages to me and to the court, it don't matter either way to me. He just winds up staying in jail. And if you really care about Barry that much, let's be honest. If you gave a shit about Barry and you got all that money, that's shit money. If they wanted to really help Barry, they would have helped him. Okay? Never mind that Frank has to get paid too. And they don't want to do that. I think that's the bottom line. So much for the Free Barry J campaign, right? Nobody kept to their business on that, did they? No, they didn't help Barry at all. You know, maybe somebody will come by, give him a meal, or maybe they'll give the girlfriend a few bucks or something. Here, go buy Barry a meal or something, or she'll put some money together and buy him a good meal. But yeah, I don't like the system the way it is. I understand how you feel about that. It is a really bad system. Nobody should have to wait that long for anything. But that's just the way it is in the Philippines. It kind of tells you behave yourself out here because, well, you just never know, right? Um, it's either pay or stay is what it really comes down to. So the high roaders. The high roaders did not come through for Barry J at all, did they? No, they didn't. They didn't come through at all. Shame on them, right? All this stuff about Barry shouldn't be in there, right, Mick? Right, Big E and others? That Barry shouldn't be in there that long a period of time. You want him to get out. You want to be able to be deported, go back to his home. Isn't that what it was all about? Did they help him? No. No, there might have been small ways they help him. Maybe they even stop by. Oh, here, here's a lunch for you or something like that. But that's not getting him out of prison. That's not the help he needs. Although a good meal, sure. Buy him some brisket. Brevis, supposedly good friend of Barry's. Has he come forward, Mr. Bitcoin millionaire? Has he come forward to help Barry get out of his situation? No, he has not. These are all bullshit artists. They pretend to be supporting Barry Lee Jordan, but they're not. They're not. They're not supporting him at all. He would be out of jail and on his merry way home. And whatever he faces. But at least he would be on his way home. Nobody wants to comment on this. It's just a good story, right? You like listening to it. And it's fine too. But I'm just kind of giving you my opinion on the whole situation. And that's my opinion. Does Barry deserve to be in there a long time? It's really depending on how you want to look at all this. Has he done some great things since he's been 10 years that he was living before he was incarcerated in the Philippines? No, he hasn't done anything good for anybody. Okay, hold on. So how do you look at it? How do you look at it? I'm looking at it different ways. Maybe different than what you might be looking at it. I know what he said to me, and I didn't like it, and he was warned, and he continued. I did the best I could. Okay, he didn't want to come forward. He didn't want to come forward and comply. Instead, being as cocky as a motherfucker as he is, he decided to go full Monty on this and continue, even after he had 5 cybercrime charges on him. He continued to do YouTube shows, saying and doing the same shit that got him into trouble in the first place, ladies and gentlemen. In the first place. Who do you blame that on? Me? No. You blame it on him, not me. Sorry, I'm doing something at distance here. I'll be right with you. So it's either shit or get off the pot. You either want to help him out or you don't. So what I say to that is don't complain. And don't look at me that he's spending so much time of his life in prison. But don't look at me for that. No, I'm not going there. It's these high roaders are to blame, not me. The very people that were supporting him for whatever reason, against me really, but did he come through? Pardon me, I'm eating something. Okay, so your opinions are certainly welcome. I'll leave this show on. And feel free to make comments on this. I welcome your comments. And my whole point of all this, if you're going to support somebody, then support them, is what I'm saying. Don't pretend we're very pro-Barry, and we can't see you being in prison that long. But yet, what have you done to help him? Forget the fact that he owes damages to me. He's getting away pretty cheap on this. He didn't get a bona fide prison sentence, okay? That's what I'm saying. If you give a shit about Barry that much, then you help him out. The big wall of people, that's nothing to them. I'm just saying, if you're supporting the guy as much as you claim you are or have in the past, free Barry J, free Barry J, they're kicking sand in his face and throwing mud pies at him, saying, suffer, you bastard. Because nobody helps Barry. I think that's a clear message. 2 things. They don't want to see anything go to me, Secondly, they know what Barry has done to people. They're recognizing it. They don't want to admit it openly. They know everything he's done with people, the money he's owed people, women, historically speaking. But yet, they don't want to help him. Okay, that's not my doing. I got to figure out what to eat for lunch here, but just picking on something here. I just happened to do a little research on that, and yes, subsidiary, whatever it's called, imprisonment, meaning if you don't pay, you stay. And supposedly, from what I read or researched, it's 6 months of imprisonment per charge. That comes to 30 months. What has it been? A month now he's been in Billy Bid or longer, so 29 months to go. Well, he didn't want to be in there another 29 months. And the high roaders don't want to see him suffer. Where are you, high roaders? Where are you? Now that he really needs your help, where are you? Oh, forget about what he owes me. Forget about what he owes me in the court. Or forget about what he owes me. That's peanut money. If you care that much for him to be free, that's the only way it's going to happen. If you help him out. As I said, either way, it works for me. He gets more jail time. It's a win-win situation for me. And it's not a contest, mind you, but it's a win-win for me, as far as I'm concerned. You want to help the dude out, you help him out. You don't want to help him out, you don't help him out. He's going to face a lot more time. And Billy Bid is not the most pleasant prison. In fact, is rated as the worst prison in the Philippines, period. Yeah, he's suffering in there. I'm sure he is. Hotter than shit, rashes, the potential of fights and gangs, shit food. Free rent, though. That's a bonus in his case. He didn't complain that much when he was in Mandawi, because that was like, Holiday Inn to him. Free room and board. Well, he had to bring his own food, but no rent, no electricity. Friends could come over, bring him stuff. Every modern appliance in the world. I'm surprised he didn't have a full-size refrigerator in there. And a washing machine. Surprised he didn't have all of that. But he had enough. More than most people that were put in detention situations ever had. Even an ice maker. Who had it better than him? And regarding his Social Security, I can't answer that for you. I just know that when you are in prison and stuff, that the U.S. Embassy has to know that. They obviously do, obviously. And then that information gets out to the Social Security Administration, supposedly. In a perfect world, it does. Is he getting any money at all from his Social Security? Has he been getting this the whole damn time when he was saying that he wasn't? I believe he does have money. I believe that he just doesn't want to take it out of his pocket. And the main reason, it all makes sense when you think about it, he knows he's going to be deported at some point in time. He needs some money to begin his life in the States, whether it's to get some vehicle that he could live in, perhaps, like a van, which is probably one of his plans. He could have a shelter in case everybody else shuns him, such as friends. He's not going to tell you he has that money, and he's willing to suffer it out in Billy Bid, and prior to all of that, not to spend any of that money and tell every one of you that he's broke, that he has not been getting his Social Security disability all this time. At least for the most part, I'm sure he was getting his Social Security disability. But how long did it take before Social Security knew that he was being incarcerated? Did they actually cut it off? If and they did, he's still, if you think about how many months he's been incarcerated and how many months he was getting his Social Security disability, that he must have at least enough money to buy himself a used vehicle, like a van or something they could sleep in. I think that was his whole plan, as expensive as it even is in Alabama. And probably was maybe not going to go back to Alabama. There were other places down south that he considered. So get a vehicle, he could at least sleep in it. He could apply for welfare if they allowed him, but I don't know. If you owe child support, I don't know if the state would actually give you benefits. I'm not sure of that. If you owe child support, I don't know. Welfare is something he even talked about. He's so proud. Say, hey, wait till I get back to the States. I'll show you all. I'm going to use taxpayers' money. I'm going to get our welfare. I'm going to get food stamps. I'm going to get Section 8 housing and fuck you all. All right. I understand about that attitude and why people don't want to pay him any money. From that alone, that attitude, well, I'm going to suck your taxpayers' money. Well, I think he's been doing that a long time when he was in the States, actually. I don't know how long he worked as a waffle flipper and how long he states he worked at a bar, supposedly being this big-ass bouncer, which is really hard to believe, obviously. But tell you what, it is what it is, and I got to go. I'm surprised there isn't more dialogue on this because there's plenty. Maybe some of you are feeling guilty out there and you're trolls, and you didn't help the boy. The man's suffering. He's suffering. Nothing to do with me. Just no. You didn't want to help him. He don't have to stay there. He don't have to be there. Paperwork could be going on right now if you help him out. But you're not. Don't complain. And don't point fingers saying why Barry is where he's at. Barry put himself wherever he's at. Barry doesn't, he gets by in life without paying people. So what makes you think he's going to want to pay court fees and penalties and damages? Has he ever paid anybody else before that he owed money to? What makes you think he's going to call it the state? The Republic of the Philippines. What makes you think he's going to do that? Never paid anybody else. Girlfriends, bars, sorry stores, landlords, you name it. He ran away from those responsibilities. Keep that in mind. This is not a guy that's fallen into some bad luck. Okay? That's not at all. He created every situation in his life, and there's not a troll out there that's going to disagree with me. I don't care who the fuck you are. Whether you like me or you don't like me, it don't fucking matter. You know what he did. Now, it has to do with compassion. You high roaders, how come you haven't helped them? Ask yourself that question. Why haven't you helped them? Free Barry J. Free Barry J. He's not free, is he? Hypocrisy is deafening, my friends out there. It's deafening.
Monday, I have nothing to do. Tuesday, I have nothing to do. Wednesday, I have nothing to do. Thursday, I have nothing to do. Friday, Saturday, nothing to do. Sunday, come, I have nothing to do.
Well, howdy, folks. It's the end of the world, and you know it. It's the end of the world, and you know it. It's the end of the world, and you know it. And I feel fine. Oh, what is going on? That is a big eruption, a volcano in Bali. In Bali, what's going on? Kil.l is going off like crazy in Hawaii. There's nothing terribly new about that. Possibility of war between Iran and Israel, which of course the United States will certainly get involved with. What's going on, folks? People getting obese and dying off. Pestulation. I don't know what the hell is going on. But something's going down in Funky Town. Yeah, it just brought to my attention in Bali, a volcano going off in there. Is this the beginning of the end of times? Hell if I know, but I'll tell you what. There's a lot of shit happening in the Ring of Fire. And it's not looking good. And then all the friction going on between Ukraine and Russia, Israel. Oh, gosh. And Iran, which is a definite enemy of the U.S., that's for sure. The Ayatollah, remember the Ayatollah. So what is going down in Funky Town? People are just going crazy on YouTube. There's just falling apart physically, mentally. Everybody's attacking each other. Volcanoes are going off. Crazy. This whole dang world is to. You remember years ago, if you followed my show, I used to say initially that, our world is turning into episode. Well, it's no longer turning. It is a Mad Max episode. People can't contain themselves. People going crazy. Then came the COVID. And the COVID just really made people crazy. They didn't like the lack of freedom. Being told what to do, to stay indoors. You couldn't go to the store. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. Rules and regulations and smegulations. Volcanoes going off. Wars about to happen. A chump for a president that's going to destroy everything in the American way. Forget MAGA, make America great again. America hasn't been great for a long time. And certainly under his administration. Here he is, second term. And look at the people who voted for him. They wear horns and makeup and they raid the Capitol. You got a hint yet, folks, that things are kind of like not right? Is this a wake-up call to everyone on here? Let's get him. Let's get her. Let's get everybody. Let's get him thrown out of the Philippines. Let's get him in jail. Let's file a case. Oh, if necessary, of course, folks, with caution. Caution. Everybody's hating haters. Trolls are just singing and chanting around a growing fire and throwing fuel on the fire. So what the hell is going on? My prophecy, I think, is coming true. And this goes back a long time, folks. Whether it has to do with YouTubers, whether it has to do with this world just falling apart by the seams. Arctic ice is melting, causing islands around the Pacific to go underwater in other places. Florida is eventually going to be underwater, except for the central part for a while. Louisiana, forget about the levees. They're just never going to hold. They're below sea level to begin with. Louisiana's always going to have a problem, but this is disastrous. Everything that's going on. People have lost it. Some people are being hit financially hard by inflation. They can't afford to live anywhere anymore. That's another thing on top of everything else that's going on besides the Ring of Fire. Bali, volcano going off right now. Kilauea going off like crazy with a 1,300-foot fountain, which is not normal. Mount Pinatubo. Did you know at one time they didn't know it was a volcano? If you don't know the history, it's just like the mountainside, beautiful landscape. Until the sucker started to go off. Then they figured it out. It was a goddamn volcano. There's another volcano somewhere. Where was it? That's underneath the ocean, just coming out a little bit. There's one volcano. Where was this? It's actually under the ocean as a huge crater. And that's beginning to come out of the ocean. Methane gas escaping from everywhere now, even found in Alaska and other places. The methane that's been stored deep underground is making it to the surface. And not only on land, but in the ocean. Is it going to be one big methane explosion? What's going to get us first? Is it going to be the people just killing each other off? But that usually happens after a disaster when people are seeking food, supplies, and gasoline. That's when it really gets finished off, when people get desperate. Forget the women. They're not going to be thinking about women then. But when the world gets desperate, people get desperate too. Now they got a volcano going off in Bali. Yeah. It's the end of the world, Gilda. People, repent. Repent, the end is near. And keep on eating the way you're doing, and the end is going to be very near. Now, of course, you realize I do these for service announcers. Yes, it is crazy, Philippines. God, sometimes I don't even want to look at the news. I just see these things accidentally come up in my feeds on, I don't know what it is, Facebook feeds or something. I don't know. It comes up in these. That's how I learn these things. There's part of me that just doesn't want to know what's going on with the rest of the world. Maybe that's why I'm always living on an island, Geez, 15 years on Hawaii Island and 9.5 years on this island, plus, not to mention the visits I made here. It's more than 9.5 years. But, I got what I wanted, apparently, You want a little bit of isolation, I got it. I got it right here. My little old island. Oh, we just had a roasted chicken with potatoes, so my stomach is saying, yay! Of course, I gave the skin to somebody else because I don't really eat the skin. Well, I do sometimes, but, But yeah, it just come to my attention. Yeah, Bali volcano going off. And Pinatubo.
Bali is in Indonesia.
Yeah, that's kind of Indonesia, right, folks? Yeah, Indonesia. And what are you doing, Ginger? Jesus Christ. She's humping Sal. 2 females. What are you guys, gay?
No, it's very high.
Seinfeld says not that there's anything wrong with being gay. For my show's purposes and disclaimers. Damn. 2 horny dogs, volcanoes going off, people hating on each other. 2 countries possibly going to war. Someone's going to nuke the other person. The United States going to get involved. We're going to be in an all full-scale war. Well, the United States is. How's it going to affect our value of the dollar, for the pesos? A lot to think about. A lot of anxiety on this shit, right? If you never had anxiety before, you might be developing it now. You might just very well be. Past the benzos, my friend, right? It's funny, you might need them. Oh, like that guy that got in the line once, supermarket. He was making fun of people that were on food stamps. You don't want to work. You don't want to. All this other shit. Then his job went to shit. Then he wound up in a supermarket giving food stamps out. So see how that shit works, folks? Yeah. You see how that shit works? It goes around, comes around. If you don't believe it by now, I don't know how I'm ever going to convince anybody out here. The prophecy is real. It's real. I gotta say, I was looking at a picture of somebody today, and I politely, I think I took it off my, I think I did, yeah, I took it off my computer. It was a thumbnail, and I think I took it off anyway. And it was one of our YouTubers that we're all familiar with, and I couldn't believe how big the guy was. The guy is tall as it is, but I sweat off his shirt, and he was just huge. I mean, he was like juxtaposed against Big Kevin, and Big Kevin is still big, okay? So the juxtaposition between those two in the pictures together, I said, holy shite, the dude is big. What is with it? Are you living a good life? Well, if you lived a good life, make it last. You got people to be responsible for, you know. You don't eat like that and get that big and expect to live long. I don't give a shit if you go to the gym. Because when your heart's not used to all that exercise, and I'm not going to go into that whole spiel again, but I did that on another show, that you're stressing your heart out if your heart is not used to that kind of strenuous lifting and kind of exercise. And if you're overweight on top of that shit, give me a break, man. Give yourself a break. It's too crazy, man. People are crazy. People are not taking care of themselves. I don't know why. You've got one life to live unless you believe in something else. As far as we know, and everybody knows, you got just one life unless you believe in reincarnation. Some people in different religious factors believe, Hindus and whatever, that believe in afterlife and all that stuff. God, could you believe centuries ago people were willingly getting themselves sacrificed to satisfy the gods? Did they have peyote back then? What did they have? They were all smoking something or taking something back then. But it was an honor to be thrown into the volcano or something, or get your heart taken out or something, because, you were satisfying the gods. You were willing to give up your family and everything because, some crazy maniac with a big old knife is going to cut you apart and say, this is going to save us all. We got to satisfy and appease the gods. Oh, jeez. I'm serious, man. What people believe. What people believe. But again, it is their beliefs, But to allow yourself to be sacrificed. It was that dumb movie, Joe in a Volcano, and I don't know, all these stories about, get a virgin. That's the best one, Throw a virgin into the volcano, and it'll stop the volcano. What's wrong with people, man? Philippines says Supreme Leader is live saying Iran will never surrender. Which Supreme Leader? Trump? He's no Supreme. Well, I don't know. Iran, I think they figured they got nothing to lose. They've been stomped on so many times by the United States and killed their Ayatollah. People are just warmongers. Face the reality. Okay, this is not kumbaya around the campfire, folks. This is reality. This is reality. People are going out of their fucking minds. They're more hateful, more resentful. They're more judgmental. They're more aggressive, vicious, paranoid. Shit like on. This is all happening. What's next? Ring of Fire. Bali. Well, that just was going off. It looked pretty big. I mean, it was significant to be on the news. Then you got more airplanes crashing, even other places now. Now the controversy. Why did that one guy survive? When 241 passengers all died, and he just walks out the door. Was Allah looking out for him? What was going on with that? How could this just going to happen? People didn't want to be around and kiss his hand, touch me. And people are strange. How did he survive? I don't know. It almost seems impossible. I think the theory was the door busted open and he found an opportunity to jump out to get out. I think it's what supposedly happened. So that's what you call one lucky guy. Hey, whatever lotto numbers he's playing, I'd want to play him too. Because out of 242 people, he survives. Go figure that. Don't forget there's other people that died in that kind of hospital headquarters, for the interns or whatever they were. Pretty amazing. And I've been hearing a few other plane disasters here and there scattered about. What the hell is going on with the aviation industry? Everything is happening. It's not my imagination, and I'm not smoking nothing other than what I do. No wacky tobacco here, man. No street drugs, any shit like that. No drinking. Ah, what's that Philippines says? Oh yeah, exit seat prices will go through the roof now. Yeah, I would think so. There is some controversy on what's the best part of the plane to be on. And it used to be that the tail section would break off and maybe that's your safest section. But next time you make a reservation on a plane, if it isn't taken, you could choose your seats. I don't think I'd want to be right on the tank or the engines. You got to go by these crashes. How many people survived in the front of the fuselage? How many people compared to other people that have been in the tail section of a plane? I wonder what the odds are on that. I think I'd sooner be in the tail section because there's nothing back there I think that's really flammable. Just be near the exit, near the tail. That would be a good place. And away from the big crowd. Nobody really likes to sit all the way back. Look, when there's an emergency going on, people are going to panic. You know how people are, cattle. They're going to panic. And your chances of getting... Now, you got to think about yourself. And if you have a family member, you got to think of them too. If you have a kid with you, you're going to want to think of them too. Don't worry about anybody else. Get yourself out. Unless you're in a position to help somebody and, time is not of the essence. You got to save yourself and or a member of your family. That's the first thing you should be doing. But as I said, if you can be in a position to help somebody else, you do so. If you can't, you just have to save yourself. That's just our animal instinct, fight or flight, self-survival, and so forth. So there's a lot going on in the news. I don't think I've heard anything good in the news. Everybody's fighting over something. Then there's the vice president that's trying to, get her out of office. There's always some fighting going on politically. Oh, jeez. Like that one show I like to mention now and then. It was on, was it 2 decades ago? I don't know. 1001 Ways to Die, folks. If you managed to live to a ripe age, you've been doing something right or been very, very lucky. Look at it either way you want to. You're doing something right, something, whatever it might be, whether it's genetics or diet or, I don't know. But if you made it to 60, you're doing pretty good. You made it to 70, you're doing a lot better. Over 70, you're doing a lot better. Make it to 80, wow, unbelievable. 85, holy shit. 90, holy cow.
100.
Yeah. My girlfriend's mom is 89. 89. Yeah. Bedridden though for over 3 years. It's not good. She's not in good shape. I mean, she's not getting any sunshine at all in over 3 years. She needs to get a liquid form of vitamin D3 to take for her bones and to get the calcium to her bones. And then some people will say, she's 89, she's not in good shape, her heart's weak because she doesn't exercise, doesn't get out of the bed. They say leave it be, let her die a natural cause, but it shouldn't even be that way either. She's still alive. She obviously wants to be alive. She hasn't given up. She likes those back scratches, apparently, and, she don't want to live without those back scratches. Oh, man. It takes a lot of internal fortitude to want to survive under really bad living conditions, health conditions, and so forth. Shit happens. Like, who was that? Smooth Lee's friend, an African-American guy, a friend of his that's a vlogger. I mentioned that. I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but he wound up being wheelchair bound and his whole life is in turmoil. He can't do things for himself or walk, and he's kind of deteriorating, and he knows it. And he didn't expect all this shit to happen, right? And I mean, nobody really does. And by the way, I think you guys know that I mean well on here when I talk about different things going on in the community, such as obesity and It's just an observation that I made. I'm not like going on the attack like Kevin would or anybody else, but it's an observation. It's a concern. It's a phenom to me. Why so many people are in so out of shape and don't seem to care about it until something disastrous happens to them. It's just a phenom with me. I don't understand it, you know. I never really felt sorry for a person who was really overweight because nobody forced any food down their mouth and told them what to eat. They did it all on their own. Unless they had some kind of a gland problem or something, you know, underactive thyroid or any other contributor for the weight gain. You know, I don't. I don't want to sound cold, but I don't feel sorry for people that are overweight like that because they have control. Just like me with the cigarettes, you can say the same thing. If something happens to your lungs, Frank, well, you smoked. And you'd be absolutely right. I'm not going to argue with you. So it's the same philosophy I'm using toward this stuff with obesity. Okay, Philippines says, wow, speaking of Kevin, geez, he sounds terrible in that Big E Hilton video. Yeah, something with, he must have caught something. You noticed it too, huh? Yeah, I noticed it too. I don't know why he's putting old videos on when he was with his son back in Alaska. And he was still overweight back then too. His son really looks like him. Only picture Kevin with hair and a beard and dark hair and a beard. His son kind of looks like him. I don't know why he's putting that old shit on. And he put another one on that was like going to be Easter recently. Easter in Thailand or something. I don't know, they're celebrating Easter in Thailand this time of year. Can't be. It's got to be I don't know what the hell that is really. And then he had to show himself to be very proud that Big E, of course, you think Big E, Kevin's going to treat Big E? Get real. Of course, Big E was treating him to dinner. That's what Kevin does. He's like another Barry. He didn't do a long video, but he wanted to make sure that everybody saw, look at me. I'm with the Big E. Look at me. Be jealous. Be envious. I'm with the Big E. Big E's buying me. He came on just to show that. We're so proud of you, Kevin. We're so happy for you, Kevin. Good boy, Kevin. Attaboy. Attaboy, Kevin. We saw you. We saw you. God dang. Phew, the psychology goes wild on fucking YouTube, man. Pestilence, everything going on in the world. War, pestilence. Ring of fires going off. Wars are going to be happening. People killing each other in the streets or in the fields of different countries. At ATM machines in the Philippines. Neighbors killing neighbors over something stupid. What has happened to the human race? Philippines says it doesn't look like Ego's been working out. Still, he is pretty. No offense, Eric, if you're listening. It's just an observation. Look, you say enough shit about me, so hey, touche. All right, let's call it where it's at. Yeah, you need to lose a hell of a lot of weight, sir. Your face is bigger than Kevin's head. And then Big Kevin is still big, but juxtaposed against Kevin, Big E, it was like, holy shit. So, big fat wallet, get the ladies to be around him, but he can't lose fucking weight. Oh well. How much money it's the money that's getting you fat. The expression says, I got a chubby, as Barry used to like to say. Well, I bet he's got a chubby. No offense, sir. No offense, sir. No offense should be taken. Almost sounded like Ricky there. Speaking of Ricky, even the big ego meister is wondering what's going on with Ricky. Why has it been over a week he hasn't been on? Well, that's happened before, so don't, just, whatever wishful thinking you may have upon him, don't think that way. Come on, we don't want nothing to happen to Ricky, you know that. Really, now, come on. He has his reasons for not being on, or maybe he did croak. I mean, what the fuck do I know? I don't wish it upon him, but if he did happen, I'm not gonna like all of a sudden scream and fall off my chair or something like that. I told you, man, the prophet speaks. What's meant to happen is going to happen. And you do it all to yourself, or Mother Nature just steps in and says, well, this organ ain't going to work today. Don't have to be an accident. Don't have to be poisoning. Don't have to be killed by somebody. Don't have to be about your weight. Doesn't have to be about your drinking. Some organ would just give out. It did its time, did its function, but it no longer wants to work. Take your pick. Which organ? Pick a card, any card. Pick an organ, any organ. There you go. Whew. It's almost like I didn't want to hear the news on here anymore. There's just too much shit going on. I'll tell you what, I did everything in the right way. When I really think about it, when I moved out New York, when I moved to Washington, when I moved out of there to go to Hawaii, and Hawaii to Philippines, everything was timing. It worked out just right for me. I had luck on my side with that, but you know, the timing to sell the house, the market was up in Hawaii, that worked out real well. Everything I did in timing worked out real well. Worked out real well. I don't know, I think it did anyway. I'm sure there'll be people that'll disagree with me, but that's kind of how it is. I'm not going to agree with anything I say. As I said, don't take offense with some of the things I say on here, because I think even these characters that we talk about, they know I mean well. Because it's not just them. It's as a whole what's happening with the world, that obesity and drinking and all that stuff, depression and people just going through personality changes. I don't know how much the COVID affected people. Maybe it was these, and people have a theory about it, that things got a lot worse during that time in COVID and afterwards. And thinking maybe it's those vaccinations that they were giving people. It seems the world seems like a lot worse to me since everybody's been taken, who was required to take those vaccinations. There could be some relationship to this. I mean, people were always violent anyway and self-centered and all that, and nothing's ever changed. They were beasts for quite a long time, but I think people are eating more, people are drinking more, they're doing more and more and more. So retirement. And people have, and this is all related, they have a funny way of looking at what's good for retirement. Some people don't care to live a long time. They just want to, hey, this is my retirement. I'm going to do everything I want to do. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to drink. I'm going to eat like a pig. I'm not going to worry about cholesterol and saturated fats and sugar and salt and blah, 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 blah. That's their choice. Retirement to somebody may be different to somebody else. The idea is that you want to live long enough to enjoy. First of all, you want to make it. Let's get ahead of myself a little bit here. You have to make it to retirement and make it to collect your pension, your Social Security. 7. Well, in a perfect world, you'll live at 67 and collect a bigger amount of money. But people get really greedy. But a lot of them don't live to be 67. That's the point. And put out any money. They're going to keep on raising the age on that because people are living longer. But they're not necessarily living longer. Because of all the obesity and shit that's going on, people are living less. We were at a good peak for a while, but then everything went on a downhill slope. Health. More fast food stories, more bullshit stories on what you should eat and what you shouldn't. Got people fighting on both sides, argue, no, this ain't good for you, this is good for you, that's good for you. And people just say, fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm going to eat what I want. Otherwise, I'll be out in the field with those cows eating grass. It comes down to that. This ain't good for you. That ain't good for you. Well, there are things that are good for you, and there are things we know that are bad for you. I mean, there's truth to that. But there's always opposing sides saying something different. So who do you believe? Believe me. Believe me. That's what you got to do. Just believe in me. And you'll be okay. I promise you. I promise you. Disclaimer, we are not a medical channel, we don't pretend to be, and I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not even a chiropractor who calls himself a doctor. See a lot of that going on. Dr. Berg. Yeah. But that's the news that's fit the print. And that's why I like to, do you notice I mention Amazing Philippines a lot? Do you know why I mention him? He's like the new Cebu, Chris in Cebu in a way. He's always in Cebu doing his walking around. He's talking about things going on in Cebu. He does give a little bit of news out so you could learn from his channel about the weather. He'll talk about the market. He'll talk about this and that. Just recently, again, I heard same person. The cost of living and smack him. It's these well-known channels, and they talk about this all the time. It's getting so old. It's one thing that I have to get old, but I have to listen to this rehashed old shit. Every single one of these people, when they run out of topic matter, they can't get that creative, and they all talk about the same thing. How is the cost of living? It's you can't say that. It's all according to your lifestyle, whether you like to go out to eat a lot. There's a lot of things. Whether you just prefer Western foods. There's no need to talk about it. It's the same players on here. British guy, this other guy. You got that freaking Mike Philippines retirement guy who now is best buddy with Paul, who talks about the same shit all the time too, and he talks about the same shit. Aren't you tired of this crap? No wonder you come to my channel. You want to hear something different now and then. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I don't blame myself. Just because I tell it like it is and people don't want to hear it. That's just too fucking bad. You're good at dishing shit out, but they're not good at taking it. And they get so defensive that they got to put a show that copies all my material. That's how defensive they get when you put the truth in front of people. They want to get back at you, but they're not. They're not accomplishing anything. They can talk about my girlfriend. They can talk about family. They can talk about anything they want to talk about. They're not hurting my feelings. That's a different story if I know exactly who it is, and I may run into him one day in the street. Postal on him. You just never said. I'm getting older like anybody else is, but there's parts of my brain and the memory that don't forget certain things that people have said and done. That part of my memory is perfectly fine. Thank you very, very much. Just keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. Okay, that's about all the news that's actually fit the print. Yeah, new volcanoes are going off in Bali, and I think it's going to be a cataclysmic effect. I think you're going to hear of another volcano going off in the Philippines. I think we're going to be in for a pretty good, not tornado, what do they call them out here? I call them hurricanes in America, typhoons. It seems to happen that way in a ring of fire. But it's not Malaysia. Where was Indonesia? Has a lot of problems with, tsunamis and everything else that's going on. Do you know the funny thing that happened? Not funny, but when Pinatubo went off that time in history, I believe also there was a typhoon at the same time. I mean, imagine the timing of this. You got a volcano going off. I think, was it that one that killed 30,000 people or something in a nearby village? Then it was I believe there was a typhoon at the same goddamn time. Okay, Mr. Loser's on. It's like the Ace Bachelor Cool. He said you need at least 3,000 to live in Angeles City. That guy says so much nonsense. It just gives him something to talk about. Look, everybody has a different opinion, including me, about how much you need to live in the Philippines. You can't base it on what some guy says because everybody's lifestyle is different. Do you buy a lot of snacks? That'll cost you money. Do you smoke? That'll cost you money. Do you drink on top of that? That's going to cost you extra money. Do you need a lot of over-the-counter supplies all the time? That's going to cost you money. Do you need prescriptions every month? That's going to cost you money. Do you have some form of transportation that's going to run by gasoline? That's going to need maintenance. You're going to need insurance and all that other stuff. That's going to cost you money. Do you have medical insurance? If you do, it's going to cost you a lot of money on that too. Okay, so you got a girlfriend, a wife, that's going to cost you money. You got children, that's going to cost you extra money. Don't listen to what they say because they're basing it on a single person, and even a single person is going to have expenses. You don't have to have children and everything else. If you like to go out and drink with the guys all the time, that money adds up. Some people go out every night, and you smoke on top of that too, and you eat too much, and you're spending a lot of money on food. There's no one size fits all for everyone. Speaking of size, there's no one size fits all. There's just none. It's all based on the individual person, man or woman, that comes out here and what his lifestyle is like. You want to live like the Filipinos, you can do that too, the poor ones. And I don't mean to generalize because there's a lot of wealthy and well-to-do and Filipinos out here, but let's talk about the ones that are on the poor side, and there's a lot of them. You can make a lifestyle choice to eat fish heads and rice and a couple of vegetables for dinner, and that satisfies you, and you're okay. You have no problem with it. Some people prefer a little bit of the Western diet. They can't, take to the local food. And they also have hygienic concerns about the local food anyway. So there's so many, gaps you need to fill in here on that, That's why I get that does disturb me. It's to the point I actually if I have to mention it, I'm disturbed about something. It's just, if you've been watching, Mike, the Philippines guy there, and his wife is Janet, right? Is that the same one? Yeah. You've been watching Paul. You've been watching all these people, right? You've been watching another British guy that comes on. Hello, all you lovely people. Stefan, who's from England. It's the same shit. The same shit. How did they get people to view them? How did they get subscribers? How? Somebody tell me. You got to be pretty goddamn bored to want to go to a whole show of somebody like that when it's the same shit, just another day. But you got to understand what's going on with this. They have to talk about something. Oh, don't forget the algorithms, and they're making money off their show. That's the denominator. From AdSense and all that. They have to put on a show every day, whether they like it or not. They can't let their show falter. That's what it's all about. They're a slave to YouTube. They're a slave to their own channel. I'm one of the rare ones that's not monetized. I don't know how many people are not monetized. I don't think there's too many out there. It's all about the mighty money. And they do whatever they can to bring viewers in. Clickbait. There's another one. That never happens. Most of the shows do use clickbait. Has Philly in the Philippines been on? I don't have him on my little roster here. Has he been on, or he got off or something? I don't know. That guy went from the frying pan into the fire. He should have stayed in Angeles City. Look, I questions, but people get themselves into positions they are. They let these women take advantage of them all the time. And that other guy that Philippines Antics was talking about, and his girlfriend Rose, and and he's an old timer and buys her land and everything, and she wants to get her pregnant because she's like 40-ish years old, and she's don't want to go into menopause. She wants to have a child, and she made him believe it was his child. She lied like a motherfucker to him. She goes off and screws another guy while they're still in a relationship. And yet he's all Mr. Nice, just like that other guy, Jim, with Dexel. Treats her like total fucking shit, and the way he talks to her, horribly, horribly. Next day, me and Dexel, decided to go to the store shopping, and she's on his arm or whatever's going on. Battered wife syndrome. Is every fucking body crazy on here? Is everybody crazy? Is this the fucking Twilight Zone? Did I wake up from a long coma or nightmare? I don't know what it is. But don't tell me that people, they're mentally stable. At least anybody I've experienced on YouTube. There's only a few people. Don't tell me the world ain't falling apart. Don't tell me the environment ain't falling apart. Don't tell me there ain't going to be another world war. Don't tell me that people are not crazy if they voted for Trump. An evil bastard. There's something as evil. Make America great again. No fucking way he's doing that. He's causing more turmoil with trade wars and all this shit going on. And I don't know. The good thing about life is there's a beginning and there's an end to it. Trump ain't going to be around forever. He ain't going to be around forever. I'd take Hillary over him anytime. I know you're probably fainting right now. You're probably punching the screen or something. I would take Hillary Clinton over him anytime. You know, be like the Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think compared to Trump, except she's pretty sensitive, though. She'll probably go off on somebody really easy, though. Maybe she's not the best choice after all. Even Slow Joe. Well, Joe Biden, I think he did his best under the situation. He was just too old to be president. I think that's all it was. I don't think he was a bad president. I just didn't think that. But then what most people don't know is decisions not all made by presidents. They got their staff that basically inform him of everything that's going on, help him make decisions, write his speeches, everything else. He's got everybody to attend to every need of his. The military kind of like takes things under their own control, basically, except for a sign-off or something or two from the president now and again. The president's informed of what's going on internationally, where there's any concern for the United States people. A lot of things are kept under cover and private that most of us will never know. And that could go anything from UFOs to all kinds of incredible inventions they're not going to tell us about. Cures for cancer, all kinds of shit. Your government has been lying to you the whole time. Hate to tell you this. You two rah-rah government people of the United States. The government has been lying to you since you've been born. They've been lying to you, lying to everybody. Okay, what a show. Ace Bachelor, cool. Why does he come up with that name? Other than any other news to report on the local issues, I don't know what's going on. Is Ricky alive or dead, or just taking a vacation from YouTube, or having some medical problems he needs to attend to? Could be emergencies in the family in Germany. Could be anything. I don't know. I know you expect me to know everything, but I really don't know anything. He's been off for long enough. I think something's going down in Funky Town with him. Don't know what, but something's going down. Can't tell you. I could tell you that it's inevitable that something will happen to him because of his lifestyle. I could tell you that. I'm not going to pinpoint the day because I don't have the ability to do that. I know I'm kind of incredible in some ways, but I'm just lucky on my guesses, I guess. I don't know. Call me a prophet or whatever, but a lot of shit came through the years that I thought was going to come through or happen. So I got good insight. I might as well just say that. I got good insight into things. I'm no wizard, nothing like that. I don't have special powers. At least I don't think I do. But you got to know the characters. You got to know the players. And once you know them, then you can figure these things out all on your own. It doesn't really take brain science to figure some people out. Okay, with that being said, got to spend time with the lady. Maybe watch a movie or two here. And here we go to yawning. I can't tell you anything more than I already know. I think I spit out just about everything I possibly could. in the past few days. Everything about my relationship with my remaining family member or whatever, and to this, to that, to this, to that, to the house in Hawaii, to everything that's going on in YouTube, my predictions, my theories, my observations. I don't know what more I can give you. Just not sure. But sharing is caring. You got something to share with me, that's okay too. Spit it out. What's going on Discord? What's going on Discord, folks? That's a happening place. So I don't want anybody to be offended on here when I talk about things like, which is an international issue. It's not just localized here to YouTube. If I talk about the subject of obesity, it's from my observation. That's all it is. You make your observations of me when I'm on camera. You always have something to talk about, but I'm not able to do that. Apparently, it's not my right to do that. Sure, it's my right. I'm making an observation. I talk about it, and the question is, does it apply, or does it not apply? And if it applies, you got no reason to be pissed off at me. It's as simple as that, folks. Sometimes, we can simplify things on here. We don't have to make them into this big old menagerie on here. Somebody don't like somebody, say, I don't like you. And you don't have to watch the channel. You don't have to say a word to them, not even a comment on another person's show. If you don't like somebody on here, just don't go to their show. Don't make a comment on their show. It's as easy as pie. Ooh, speaking of pie, you know what I was thinking of? Apple pie. Wish I had a good homemade apple pie here. Someday I'm going to have to make it and learn how to make a good apple pie. I got a girlfriend at the time back in Seattle. I was laughing at me. I went to make an apple pie, so I bought that pie crust, at the bottom, and then you could put the top on it as a pie crust. And I didn't do nothing with the apples. I bought the green apples. And I just basically just peeled them off, and I cut them in chunks, and I put them inside. And that was it. I didn't add cinnamon. There was no pectin in it. I still, to this day, don't know how to make a really good apple pie. But one of these days I'm going to try again. I'm going to try. Okay. There's one guy in Discord, Mike Luna, yeah. His nude pics got leaked. His nude pics? It was confirmed that the man in the photos is Mike Luna. Yeah, Mike Luna's a huge troll. Yeah, I know the name. How did he get naked pictures of himself was it on Discord or YouTube? Who released his nude pics? Some girlfriend or something that didn't like him? How did he get this shit? I gotta give credit to some people. How did he get this crap on people? Sometimes people make mistakes. Yeah, but Mike Luna's he's a big troll. There's no question about that. We got 16 aboard my train. Not too bad. The photos were posted on Aloe's Discord. And where did Aloe get them? Yeah, some Malaysian girl leaked them. A Malaysian girl, really? Would you expect that from a Malaysian girl? I don't know. So he was probably doing some online stuff with the girl in Malaysia, right? Getting at it on live cam. Then he probably pissed her off some way, and she said, fuck this, I'm going to release these photographs. See, don't do that stuff. Don't do that. That's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Unless you're in a solid relationship with somebody, even you can't even trust that. Don't share nude or naughty pictures of each other, because look what Barry was going to do with one of his girlfriends, Remember? She wanted to break up with him, all that crap, and he was online telling people he was going to release their very lewd photographs of her. Yeah. It happens all the time. So therefore, be smart and don't do that. Don't get involved with that, because you never know where those pictures are going to show up, man. Get fucking real. The girl he bought the panties from. Well, I don't follow the guy. So he bought some Oh, God, this is YouTube, man. Fucking, I told you, all you people are fucking crazy. Every one of you are all fucking crazy. Guys buying panties so you can sniff them. God, I thought that was just a joke on comedies, but it's not a joke, really. I think a lot of men do panty sniffing. Like a fucking dog. They're no different than a fucking dog. You think men are any different than a fucking dog? I don't think so. They're no fucking different. Yeah, they want to smell the panties. Hopefully you get a smell of her fucking pussy. Oh, come on, folks. Come on. Give me a break. Give me a fucking break. People are more like animals than animals are animals. That's what I say. Sniffing some girl's fucking panties. Well, guys will do that if they can't get that woman. Because they're never going to be able to smell her crotch in real life. That's why you have panty sniffers out there, man. Because they want that smell. Ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? The smell that's around you. That's what it's all about, man. They can't get the ladies, so they want to get the panties. Because one way or another, I want to get to see what that girl smells like and make believe that I'm actually with her naked and that we're making love. Sick. Sick, 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 sick. Sick. Did I say sick? The panty sniffing Nico type. I bet he does. I bet he fucking smells his own daughter's fucking panties. I wouldn't be surprised. Sick motherfucker he is. Snicko, meaning snippo. Maybe call him Snippo. Hey, Snippo, you listen to my show? Snippo? Are you, boy? Are you, boy? And I laugh when people say something about me. What's there to really say? I'm the most upfront MO on here, MF on here, ever, who just speaks the damn truth and people just can't handle the truth. Well, hey, that's not my problem. It's yours. I keep on telling you, man, look in that fucking mirror and tell me what you see. And you're in no position to talk that kind of shit about me. As far as I'm concerned, I've done nothing on here that I couldn't walk away from. I'm still on YouTube. If I ever did something that bad, my ass would not be on YouTube. Nope. I don't run away from things, my friend. I face them. If you think it's the opposite, you're thinking about the wrong guy. Yeah, those panty-sniffing Nico types. Oh, Philippines says, rumor on Discord is Licky is in Thailand with Tim the Chin. Tim the Chin. I've heard that name before. Who is this guy, Tim the Chin? He's got like some big chin or something. Or these names are just incredible names. Tim the Chin. I like that one. I've heard that name before. Tim the Chin. I love it. I love it. Tim the Chin. Everybody's got some kind of handle on here, you know. Like Kevin is Big Cabin, you know. You know, the name fits the personality or the physicality of the person. I can see that. Tim is a lady boy from... Okay. Okay, yeah, we know Licky's into the lady boys. Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm sure Ricky is just fine. He's not fine, but I mean, no, I don't think Ricky's dead or anything like that. He's up to something. Or else he'd be on. But you know, he doesn't like to go on camera unless he has a woman. And if Apple had to go back to her life or whatever, she drained him of his money, and he was, perfectly willing to put out to keep her around. You see, that's a front. And what you guys don't understand is he's into ladyboys. He keeps straight ladies around here and there because he wants to give you that, the image that, he's not like one of those funny boys, It's a cover-up. It's a big cover-up. That's the lady boy that pegged. Yeah, is that ho. You might, people are into their own thing, man. People are into their own thing. They're not going to tell you everything they do. They want to hold an image in the community. Not that he holds a wonderful image, but there's some things that people just don't talk about till they get caught. When he had his tongue down that lady boy's throat, blamed it on a roofie. Heard that Ricky tosses a mean salad. Oh my, you people. It all comes out in the wash, folks, as I always say. It all comes out in the wash. And you know what, folks? I gotta go, but I'll leave it off with that. Am I right or am I wrong? Does it not come all out in the wash? Well, it certainly does, and it certainly has. Proven over and over again over time. I've been right about a whole lot of things on here, and people don't like when I'm right. Oh no, they're going to try to wrong me and do everything they possibly do, make up stories about me, my relationship to my daughter. What's the real true Hollywood story on that? Or this, or whether I have money in the bank. Oh, whose house was it really in Hawaii? Never stops, folks. Just get used to it. They're just very defensive, and they're apparently not living the life that they want. And some people are living too much of the life, if you know what I mean. Look how big they are. It's one thing about having a couple of bucks, but you got to take care of yourself too. If you got children, or anybody in life that actually loves you and doesn't love your money, you got to take care of yourself. That's my whole message to people out here. That's all it is. You got me wrong. I'm a caring, loving person. If you haven't figured it out yet, then you never will. Because that's exactly who I am. Remember, I don't get paid to come on here. That's proof alone. I don't ask for money for health advice on certain things I've learned. It's no money's involved. There's not one peso involved on my show. None. I do it because I want to do it. Not because I have to do it. Nobody's forcing me to do anything that I don't want to do. Because that'll never happen anyway. Regent says, he says, they're always right, Frank. I'm not always right, but I'm right a lot. I think my track record pretty much proves it. Sorry, I gotta down some water here. Not drinking enough, still not drinking enough. Okay, well, I think this is a pretty good shoe. I want to thank you all for showing up. As I said, don't take things I say offensively. I'm really trying to help. And some of you may not believe that, but it's a true Hollywood story with me. Just trying to help. Just trying to help. That's what I do. Help people, I help animals. Lots of crows served in 2025. I would say so. Regis says, I love it when you prove them wrong. Well, like I said, it's no contest or nothing going on here. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. It's either one or the other. It's one or the other. It's got to be one of them. You could do righteous things in your life, or you could go the other way. But in light of everything I talked about today, disasters going on, volcanoes, environment going to shit, possibly war is going to be happening, people got a lot to think about. It can really affect their psyche. And I think everything that happened over the years with the COVID, it did people in, whether it's the medicine they received for it or just the isolation and the control of the government. That was a test. If anything, and you could look at this any way you want, it's just one of my theories. It was also a test to see how much control the government could have. It doesn't mean it's our government, all governments could have over the people when they need to. They want to see how much unrest is going to be when they are forced to go into have curfews and when they get really down and ugly with armed services, armed forces stepping in. They want to show you who is in power in every single government, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's the United States, I don't care what government it is, what country. They have to show the people that they're under control. Otherwise, there'll be a lot more unrest. There'll be a lot more hideous crimes. And they don't want the people to take control. And that's why people like Trump and Republican parties are trying to eradicate totally the middle class of America, and for good reason, and it makes a lot of sense. And the sensibility of that is that keep people poor and you got more control over the poor people. Eliminate the middle class who kind of midway up there and they have a say and a right in a lot of things. There are people to contend with. The government wants you to be poor and to stay poor because it's always been historically the rich, the wealthy people in the world since the beginning of time when there was money and power and everything else, that there had to be a governing entity to take control of the people, whether it was a king or a queen, no matter what it was. You had to have control over the masses. That's why there are police officers, armies, and all that stuff. You got to have some control. And to a point, it is useful, and it does have a purpose. But that could get out of control real easy. Put the wrong person in office, take money out of their pockets, and you're going to see people, no matter how much they loved you and wanted to vote for you, when you start taking money out of people's pockets and businesses and corporations' pockets, they're going to turn on you. Out here, they just shoot you. Well, they tried to do that with Trump already, didn't they? So, yeah, they actually did a couple of times. Missed him by that much. By that much. Is that not the truth? Everything is out of control, but you have to do is you have to maintain. Maintain. When the rest of the world is going crazy, you just try to be less crazy. I feel much better now. You got to maintain, or you're going to lose it. And who's not to think that, how arrogant could you be to think that the government doesn't put something in your water supply or feed the air with chemicals? Oh, they did it to people in Vietnam with Agent Orange and all that kinds of shit. They've done that in all the wars. The Germans and the Nazi leaders, what they did to the German army, they were giving them drugs to stay awake. They all became addicted to it. I forgot what they were giving them. It was kind of a speed, and it was some other shit they were giving them. They had to stay awake in the foxholes and everything else. Some of them hardly slept at all. They were being slipped Mickeys all over the place. Governments only care for government, their own government. They don't care for the people. And that's a fact. If you haven't figured it out, it should be a government for the people. Is that what they say? For the people. But it's not like that way. It's not like that at all. The government wants full control of you. They will brainwash you in every way they can. What do you think people in the service? I joke about this, but no getting down on our wonderful veterans and stuff like that, people who have served. And I'm just making an observation. And every time I watch like a war movie on TV or something, I kind of laugh. Sir, yes, sir. I am a soldier in the army, sir. I'm a soldier in the army. What's up? What's up? Yes, sir. When they're like off duty or they're retired from the services, they still talk like that. Yes, ma'am. That would be true, ma'am. Then they walk very straight back, which is good to do, you know. It's good to have good posture. Yes, that would be correct. My name is Joseph Einstein. I was in the 5th Infantry, ma'am. I hear that your husband was also served our marvelous country. Give him my best, ma'am. They can't just talk straight. Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. How about, yes, sir. Right on, you know. Sir, yes, sir. Swift turn, careful, pivoting around. Exiting the office. Why can't they say, okay, sir, I'm out of here. Thanks for the talk, sir. I never understood it. I never understood it. But, you know, you can make some fun of things and have fun with it and not really attack anybody, you know. It's just truth. They're so mechanical. Servicemen are so mechanical because they're brainwashed, a lot of them. They work you hard in training so that you almost die. Well, there's a purpose for that, too. They want you to be able to be in the field, carry heavy equipment. They want to see that their soldiers are in good shape, health-wise, and they could do their job. And their job is to kill people. See, it's okay when you kill people because the government gives you poetic license to kill people. It's still murder. It's still murder. But as I always said, if somebody pointing a gun at you, they're going to press that trigger. Yeah, I guess you're going to have to press that trigger because, you know, you have a family to go to yourself. That's the way it works. It's true. It is true. You got to protect yourself. But I'm never going to be a paid killer by the government. Hell with that shit. I'm not super spy. It's murder no matter how you look at it. You're killing another human that you never met in your life. They have a family, children. They laugh with their children. They play with the children just like you do with yours. And you don't know this guy from jack shit. And you're out in the field and you want to put a bullet in his head. Sorry, but that's me. It doesn't have to be you. That's the way I see things. Yes, you have to protect yourself. I'm not an idiot. You have to protect yourself. But to be a hired gun for the government, I'm no fucking double knot spy or something. And I would have never went in Vietnam, even if they were drafting me. You're damn right I would have went to Canada. You got a problem with that? Too fucking bad. I was not going to fight in a war that we had no right even be in it. Now, we've talked about this before. We had no right to even be in that war. Look how many people died, innocent people. On all sides. On all sides. Because the government said, hey man, you got to get in there. Let's put our nose in somebody else's business. Let's create a reason why we're there. Even though they didn't really have a really valid reason. Or they want to stop communism. Well, let the governments run their country. Something very easy. How about this, folks? Let other governments run their government the way they see it to be. After all, it is their country. It's not ours. And let our country run their country as they want to see it. Don't get involved in another country's business, because historically it's only caused problems for the United States of America. They put their nose in everybody's business, and a lot of times when they don't have to. But there's always an ulterior motive for it, whether it's oil, whether it's territory, or revenge. Oh, nobody does revenge, do they? I can name somebody. People just need to stay out of each other's business. There'll be a better world for it. A much better world. Wouldn't you say? I'm no superhero. I'm just made to be one on YouTube. Reaching God-like status. I never asked for the job or the image. Just little old me. Frail old Frank, FOF, at your service. doing good for the nation, good for the world, good for the social community. That's who I am. And I'm glad that you're here. Remember, I'm here because you're there. Keep the peace, keep the faith, folks, and we'll talk to you another day. Hopefully. Remember, rejoice. If you wake up in a new morning, rejoice. And you may want to repent. One or the other. Feel happy you're alive. You're breathing. You could walk. You could use your hands and arms. You could eat on your own. Wipe your own ass. There's a lot to celebrate with life. Take it for what it is and not for granted, folks. Stop stuffing your fucking mouths like a trash disposal. It shows. And you're killing yourself. But hey, don't let me stop you. Tell you what, I'll do my thing. Amen. Thank you. Very good. Great sermon. Amen, Region 6. Absolutely. Amen to all. God bless you all you souls, all the fools, all the haters. Who are going to realize there's going to come some point in their life when YouTube ain't going to seem very important to them anymore because they're going to be trying to hang on to their own fucking ass, their own health, their own life. And YouTube is going to be the farthest thing in the world that they want to get involved with and continue their hate festivals and form hate groups attacking people because it's not going to be very important. Like the richest men on earth that are facing a death sentence. All the money in the world, all the king's horses and all the king's men is not going to put that rich person together again. Money don't mean shit. Character means a lot. But you're not going to fight death. It's at some of your doorsteps right now as we speak. Some of you very closely, very much in the near future. Keep the faith. Be positive, not negative. Live your life every day, no matter what it is you're doing. As exciting or unexciting as your life is, live it. Breathe the air. Love the one you're with. And rejoice that you have seen yet, my friends, another day. You have many characteristics of a prophet. Well, maybe, sir, I am. Keep that in mind. You just never know who I really am. You just never know. Well, when's the last time you actually looked in the mirror and see how fucking fat you really are? You're obese. You're disgusting. You're an embarrassment to the community. You're an embarrassment to yourself. And all the money in the world ain't going to change your character. Not one bit. You are quite good at running your mouth, but that's going to be over one day. It certainly will. Keep on like you're keeping on. You'll never be a problem to me at all, or anybody else. And I say that for everybody else. Keep on eating, brother. Keep on eating. You're going to explode like a goddamn overfed goldfish. My prophecy.